In southern Turkey sits an American base, Incirlik. It contains an asset that changes every strategic calculation the moment it is targeted. This is not about F-35s or advanced missile defense. Incirlik houses between 50 and 60 American B-61 nuclear gravity bombs stored in hardened underground vaults. This is the physical hardware of deterrence, the embodiment of America's nuclear guarantee to Europe. A theoretical tripwire. On March 4th, that theoretical tripwire was struck. Official statements call the interception a success. This is a dangerous miscalculation. For the first time in 77 years, a state actor has kinetically targeted the physical location of American nuclear weapons. The playbook for the next attack has now been revealed. That playbook began with a single launch. On March 4th, 2026, Iran executed the first move. An Iranian Fateh 110 variant ballistic missile ignited, climbing into its pre-calculated flight corridor over Iraq, then Syria. Its terminal guidance was programmed for one target, Incirlik Air Base. Before it could breach Turkish airspace, it was met just off the coast. A single SM-3 missile, a single-shot kill interceptor, launched from the US Navy destroyer USS Oscar Austin. The intercept was a textbook success. Debris rained down in Turkey's Hatay province, just 60 miles from the gates of Incirlik itself. For the first time in its 77-year history, NATO fired a weapon in active combat. A first. To defend a member nation from a direct ballistic missile attack. Another first. This was the moment deterrence theory, long modelled in war rooms, became live-fire reality. These are the operational facts, confirmed by multi-source telemetry and unified radar tracks. Indisputable. Yet the official communiques that followed, from NATO spokespersons from the Pentagon, told a different story. They spoke of a malfunction, a stray missile that had gone harmlessly off course. This wasn't merely spin, it was a deliberate narrative choice, designed to avoid triggering formal alliance obligations and to keep markets from pricing in the true risk of the escalation. This is how they game the thresholds, testing not just the hardware, but the political will to acknowledge the attack. A malfunction, a stray missile. This is the official, de-escalatory narrative. A convenient fiction designed to calm markets and prevent a panic. But the operational data does not support this fiction. The story they are selling is this: a missile aimed for Cyprus that simply veers off course. An unfortunate accident. The reality, recorded by telemetry, is starkly different. This was not a veer. This was a precisely calculated arc. A flight path launched from Iran, traversing the entire breadth of Iraq, crossing into Syria, and making its terminal descent towards one specific coordinate, Incirlik Air Base. Let's be clear, this was not an accident. It was a deliberate targeting solution, executed against a NATO facility housing American nuclear weapons. As the Royal United Services Institute confirms, a deliberate Iranian strike on a base such as Incirlik amounts to a direct confrontation. It risks tipping a regional war into a far wider international crisis. So we have two realities. The official narrative, a stray weapon of no consequence, and the operational fact, a targeted attack on NATO's nuclear threshold. The gap between these two stories is not a misunderstanding. It is a deception. You now understand the truth. This was a deliberate act of war against NATO, but the official response was not to deter. It was to de-escalate, and in doing so, they did not prevent a crisis. They handed our adversaries a validated playbook for the next attack. The critical question is no longer if Iran attacked, The question is, what catastrophic precedent did our own leaders set by pretending they didn't? The precedent was set within hours. It arrived in the form of deliberately weak, hollow statements designed for a single purpose: to avoid immediate escalation at any cost. First, from the Pentagon, US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stated plainly, "There's no sense that it would trigger anything like Article 5. Then, from Brussels, the official statement was not NATO activates Article 5. It was not NATO declares collective defense. The statement was NATO stands firmly. This is the diplomatic language of an alliance that has been provoked into its first direct combat intercept and has decided to pretend it was a minor incident. The official justification came from NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who clarified that a single intercepted missile did not constitute a full-scale armed assault. And that is the core of the blunder. By defining what is not enough for a full response, NATO handed Iran a precise roadmap. The logic is simple, and it's terrifying. First, Iran tests the line with one missile, a probe. Second, NATO successfully intercepts, but its leaders go on record, globally, to announce that this specific action falls below the threshold for a collective military response. The result? Iran now knows the playbook. The signal is clear. A single missile is a test, a salvo of missiles, a saturation attack designed so that some are guaranteed to get through, is the real key. This isn't de-escalation, it's a free intelligence leak broadcast to the world. So what's your assessment of NATO's response? Was it a calculated act of de-escalation to prevent immediate war, or a catastrophic strategic blunder that just invited a larger attack? Let me know in the comments. Because this blunder, this playbook, is not an isolated event. It is one data point in a conflict that is already active on multiple fronts. We are so focused on the Article 5 threshold in Turkey that we are missing the fact that this war is already happening. That the first American submarine kill since World War II has already occurred. And just like the attack on Incirlik, the public is being told a different story. That event occurred in the Indian Ocean. Front 1. A US submarine located and sank the Iranian Muj-class frigate, the Iris Dana. At least 80 Iranian sailors were killed. This was confirmed by the Pentagon. This was the first American submarine torpedo kill since World War II, a historic threshold crossed and then buried by officials. Front 2. The Eastern Mediterranean. Iranian-made drones, launched by proxies, have repeatedly attacked the British sovereign base on Cyprus. This is not a minor skirmish. This action has drawn in military assets from both the United Kingdom, which deployed its HMS Dragon destroyer, and Greece, which scrambled frigates and F-16s in response. Another front opened. The war map is no longer regional. The geometry of this conflict now spans at least 14 countries and 6 major bodies of water. Anyone claiming this is contained is deliberately ignoring the facts on the ground. The system has been activated. And while governments speak of de-escalation, the capital markets have already received the signal. They have priced in the new reality. It's why European TTF natural gas prices are already on track to double in a matter of days. This is the first echo of the true cost. And next, I will show you precisely how this gas panic premium will be the mechanism that fractures the European alliance. The economic war has begun. While officials in Brussels and Washington draft statements of de-escalation, the capital markets have already rendered their verdict. The disruption to Qatari LNG shipping through the Strait of Hormuz was the catalyst. The reaction was instantaneous. Europe's benchmark Dutch TTF gas contract surged to a peak of €65.79 per megawatt hour. This is more than double its price from only days before. In the United Kingdom, the benchmark price followed a parallel trajectory, jumping over 85%. Let us be precise. This is not a market fluctuation. This is a gas panic premium being priced into the system in real time. It is the first tangible cost of a conflict they are telling you is contained. This economic chaos serves a single, primary beneficiary, Russia. Every price spike in Europe is a strategic victory for Moscow. It deepens European energy vulnerability and creates a new energy capital threshold, straining the integrity of the NATO alliance from within. This price shock is not an accident. It is a tactical consequence, governed by rules most strategists have failed to update. There are new principles of conflict, principles people like Elon Musk have quietly warned about. They understand that in this new arena, the real war is fought on balance sheets, not battlefields. And the first of these principles reveals a fatal flaw in NATO's economic posture. We will dissect it next. That fatal flaw is the asymmetric fiscal threshold. It is the first new rule of this conflict. According to Department of Defense budget filings, it costs NATO approximately $28 million for a single SM-3 interceptor. The Iranian missile, it is designed to stop costs roughly $2 million. This is not a sustainable exchange ratio. It is a war of balance sheets, engineered to drain Western treasuries and force defense spending toward untenable levels, over 3.5% of GDP. The first signal is not on the battlefield. You can track it yourself. Watch the 10-year EU bond spreads against quarterly defense outlays. That is the true front line of this fiscal war. The second new rule is the energy capital threshold. The weak Article 5 response has already triggered a verdict from the market. We saw Brent crude spike over 8%, and the European TTF gas benchmark jumped more than 50%. This is capital flight in real time. Investors are preemptively exiting vulnerable EU assets and reallocating to North American energy and hard commodities. This is the gas panic premium Russia has been waiting for, a dividend paid by NATO's hesitation. These thresholds are being crossed just as Iran appoints a new hardliner, IRGC intelligence chief Mojtaba Khamenei, and the US considers a deeply flawed Kurdish proxy plan, a strategy that failed catastrophically when they were abandoned in 1991. As Elon Musk has consistently warned, when you demonstrate restraint, you are not de-escalating. You are revealing your exact response threshold. This invites adversaries to probe, to learn, and then to launch a saturation attack designed to overwhelm you. That is precisely what is happening now. A saturation of our financial and energy systems. These are not theories. They are the new rules of engagement. With the board set, and the pieces moving according to this new playbook, the final outcome is no longer a question of if. It has become a simple calculation of when. Let's codify what you now see. The facts, unfiltered. We have witnessed the first NATO combat intercept in history. We have witnessed a direct attack on an installation housing American nuclear weapons. We have witnessed the first confirmed kill of a US submarine since the Second World War. These are irreversible firsts. The political threshold for a wider war crossed. The economic threshold of a global gas panic crossed. The fiscal threshold of an asymmetric war designed to bleed this alliance dry crossed. And yet, the official statement from Defense Secretary Hegseth is that America is winning decisively and devastatingly. The evidence proves the opposite. A wider war has been invited. The salvo is coming. This official narrative is a tool of containment, not of clarity. If you intend to continue seeing these thresholds before they are breached, to track the capital flows before the panic sets in, then subscribe. The briefing will continue.